situation. Present company included. We have to protect the rights and liberties of the individual, even at the expense of our own desires for what our neighbor does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
I'm Kenneth Bauer, and I talked to Commissioner Cousins at last school board meeting, and we talked about election integrity, and he said there was a problem there that they needed some solutions. I've got some reprints here from the New American where they do give 18 different points that we could do to help straighten out these elections. I know I'd have to go nationwide before anything really, but we could start it here in Iron County, you know, if you want to. Can I approach it to give you these?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. I'll be the clerk. Oh.
Yeah, if you take a look at that, I think they've done a lot of research, and it's well thought out. The points that they've made on those, it's going to take some the citizenry to get involved in the election process to help straighten this out, and I actually see no problem to that. If especially now, how they've seen how this last election went. I've even talked to Democrats that think there was something wrong with this last election. So, you know, when you get the winners thinking that there's something wrong with the election, it's time to really step up to the plate and start to change this. And I think we can do that. It just kind of takes us back to what it was like in the 50s and the 60s, the way the voting was done then. And I went down Thursday and talked to the clerk and found out how the election process works in Iron County. She was very pleased to tell me that they use ES&S machines here in Iron County, which those things, we need to get rid of that electronic stuff on counting the stuff. We need to go back to the hand counting, because there's algorithms in all of that stuff. There's congressional testimony that those if you go to it's on YouTube now, that Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. They tell you that there's algorithms in there, and they flip the votes. They can program the votes in there, and you can vote on it. It'll give you a little receipt on how you voted and everything, but what goes back to the precinct is completely different than what you see on the screen. They had congressional testimony to this years ago, and they've done nothing about it yet. So I think it's going to have to start at the local level and then work up to the state, and then from each state, from state to state, before this ever gets straightened out. So I think we can start it in Iron County. You was first on Colin Ray, bringing him in. You know, that's
First concert.
The first concert. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of. Trying to think of. That's the first concert. I think probably the only concert they've had since COVID. So, and it was done right here in Iron County. And as far as thinking, well, we can't get anything yet, the news media won't say. There's enough social media. People know about Iron County because of that, because of social media. So we don't need the mainstream fake news to get the word out. We can do it on our own from social media. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments this morning? All right, well, let's move on to agenda item number 4, the discussion and approval of a subdivision final plat for the Parks at Deer Hollow Phase 2A, which is 19 lots, 6.68 acres within the northwest quarter of Section 15, Township 35 South, Range 11 West, Salt Lake Basin Meridian, with an appraiser parcel number of D-582-4. Mr. Erickson again.
Good morning. You'll recall this subdivision having come through with preliminary plat approval at the prior meeting, so I didn't feel it was necessary to pull the map up and show you where this is again, but it's just Part 2B, and we did amended the development agreement last time to allow this Phase 2B to go forward prior to finishing Phase 1. And so everything's in order. We have the signed Mylar here, ready for your signature, and we have the escrow agreement. We'll just mention this specifically is a little different than our typical bonding process or letter of agreement or letter of escrow from the bank, where it's an agreement that they will hold funds in an account where we will also sign to release those funds for the improvements that are being put in. So with the approval of this final plat, I would also ask for the approval of the escrow agreement. Any questions?
Seeing no questions. Any questions from the audience? I will call for motion.
I'll move for approval of a subdivision final plat for park at Deer Hollow, Phase 2A, 19 lots, 6.68 acres within the northwest quarter of Section 15, Township 35 South, Range 11 West, Salt Lake Basin and Meridian, APN D-582-4.
Second.
Oh, and with
the escrow agreement.
with the escrow agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a signature on that right now?
Sure.
Just want to say thank you for doing that for us. We want you to know we appreciate your ordinances. We're grateful we don't have a pig farm next to us because we wouldn't sell a lot.
Thank you.
But at the rate we're going, we probably won't sell a lot anyway because if it went like last time, we're in trouble again. But we do appreciate it, and we appreciate your ordinances. So I do appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 5. Consideration and approval for a limited water license agreement between Iron County and Parolan Valley Holdings, LLC for 15 acre-feet of water lease for Second Mound Prairie Dog property.
This is an agreement between Parolan Valley Holdings, who is leasing the Iron County 15 acre-feet of water currently, that we are using at the Second Mound property. You're aware we drilled the well last year, and we needed to have water to do that, and so this is to help with the irrigation there, the watering of livestock, and to spread that water out across the property to enhance the prairie dog habitat. There is one provision in the agreement currently. The agreement is for $450, and what I would like is maybe just to consider just putting wording in there to say up to $450. We're right now calculating with the water rights division of whether or not we need 15 acre feet of water based on the limitations of our well and how much it can pump, and we don't need to have that much. And so we thought if we say up to $450, that would give us up to the amount that we are currently leasing, but we don't have to pay $450. If we
have a rate of what we're going to pay per acre foot.
Yes, that's based on the rate now for the 15 acre feet. And
Just what you're needing.
yeah, it's just based on what we
That
need.
wording will cover you if we just say up to. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I'll get it back with them, and if we can approve it based on that change, then I'll get a new addition and get you to sign it later.
Okay, I'll move to approve the limited water license agreement between Iron County and Parolan Valley Holdings, LLC, which is 15 acre-feet water lease for second Mound Prairie Dog property, and to compensate up to $450.
Aye. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in
I
favor?
still got the COVID
Aye.
brain.
Aye.
Anyway, you can use that.
All right. Item number 6, discussion and approval of resolution 2021 amending the Iron County Subdivision Construction and Design Standards, section 102, required improvements, and section 109, road standards, cross sections and exhibits by Mr. Erickson.
Thank you, Commission. This is a result of the last 2 ordinances that we've adopted, instituting the R4K zoning and looking at the cross sections for our road standards, and the provisions that we've made recently in changing the ordinances. We want to update the construction and design standards now to include what improvements are required in that new zone, the R4K zoning district. So it's pretty straightforward. It just includes that zoning district to be included, and shows that it requires paved roads, curb, gutter, and sidewalk, central water, central sewer, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Call for motion.
I'll move for approval of the resolution 2021-2 amending the Iron County Subdivision Construction and Design Standard, section 102, required improvements, and section 109, road standards, cross-section, and exhibits.
Second.
Thank you. Let me just make
Yes.
a quick comment before you vote. This was recommended by the Planning Commission for approval, and we appreciate your consideration.
Great.
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Number 7, request for additional funding for the 4-H club, presented by Cindy Rose.
I have calendars, our monthly calendar. Is it all right if I hand you each one so
You
you
bet.
can see what we do?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I am Cindy Rose. I'm the program director of the Youth Service Learning Program. And I'll first share with you what an amazing group of kids this is. They're 11 to 18-year-old volunteers that just volunteer in our community to make a difference, a positive difference. We were formerly a different program through 5 County. Paul Cousins approached us and invited us, asked us, sponsored us to come over here and start a new program, YSL, which we're doing. You can see by the calendar, we're pretty limited right now what we can do because of COVID. We're used to going into like assisted facilities, going out to community events, parks and stuff. So we've been pretty creative at what we're coming up with. The one where we're cutting t-shirts to make quilts, that's going to be to give to the assisted living facilities so that they'll have nice blankets in there. And then when we do these projects, we talk about why we're doing them, who it helps, why it helps. TLC is the True Life Center. That's the food pantry. The kids go each week and help sort and hand out the food. Happy Factory, we got to come back into Happy Factory, so we're really thrilled with that one. Everybody knows what Happy Factory is. Stuffed Senior Bags, that's through 5 County, the aging program, and they have a big senior fair each year, so we're going to put everything in the bags that will get handed out to them. So that's kind of what we do during the month. I'm currently only working 11 hours a week, and it's not a lot of time to make a very big difference in the community. We went before the city and requested additional funding, and I'm here today with my beggarman's hat on to request additional funding. I'd like to get up to 20 hours a week, and I think as time goes on, as the weather gets nicer, we're going to just keep growing and growing. When we switched over from the previous group to this group, we had about a handful of kids again. We've rebuilt, I think we have about 45 members right now. I'd like to get that number bigger and just keep making a good positive difference out here. So that's my ask. And Laura is going to say, or do you have any questions for me? Do you want to know anything more about what we do, or?
Just maybe to clarify, so 5 County used to fund it was the YVC back then,
Yes.
right? Youth Volunteer Corps,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And 5 County used to fund all of that, and they chose not to because, and they really didn't do it for any of the other 5 County members, and so they said we probably can't do that anymore. And so, so Cindy came to me, and we tried to, and it's been a really good program, beneficial to the youth and the communities in our county, and unincorporated areas, of course, too. But but we wouldn't want to set up a separate department or pace, a separate category. So we asked Cindy if she would take her organization, move it under the 4-H umbrella, which they did. So that's basically some background, right, of
Yes.
what you've done. And then you came to us for some funding, and we gave you some, and then I think Cedar City funded you as well, right?
Yes.
Was there any others that funded you?
No.
Just Cedar City and Iron County?
No, I believe you each gave us 5,000,
Okay.
and we asked the city for 15. Doesn't mean we'll get it.
Addition, in addition.
So for a total of 15.
Okay. And what do you, how much do you feel like you need to be able to increase to that 20 hours and make the program run smoother?
I think if we could get between 10 to 15,000 from each, that would cover it.
Okay.
So it's mostly to fund you so that you can work full time, right? I mean, not full
20
time,
hours.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else we do, I go out into the community and I make happen. I've learned to be a really good beggar. Here I am with my hands out
Hands out
again.
again.
But it works. I think it works really well because it's for the kids. It's a program for the youth, and the youth are the ones that are making the difference. It helps their school grades. It helps them when they graduate. They have great letters of recommendations. They can show what they've done. We track their hours. They've gotten lots of scholarships because of the volunteering program. So it really is very beneficial for them. And me. I love it. I love these kids.
That's good. I went and talked to Cindy and had a really good visit with her at the extension office, and I think she has a really good program. I did tell her that budgeting time is at the end of the year, and I didn't know whether, that could happen now. We may have to wait till the end of the year. It's something that we'll have to discuss and get back with you.
I think the city does their budget in June.
Yeah,
I believe
they're different
so.
than us, right?
Yeah, they're on a fiscal year and we're on the calendar year.
So I won't even know from them what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think until then. I don't think they tell me ahead of time.
But I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'd love if you get somebody else who wants to talk to us. Awesome. Tell us your name.
I'm Alora Dobrinsky, and I'm part of YAB, which is the Youth Advisory Board. So we're like the overseer youth along with Cindy. And I've only been volunteering for 3 years because I'm only in 8th grade. But it's great. I mean, it's helped me with a lot of things. I've gotten out in the community, and I really think we make a difference in everything that we do.
Awesome. Which school do you go to?
I go to Canyon View Middle School.
Awesome.
now.
Well, thank you for. I know that you guys make a huge difference, and it's something, when we had the opportunity to kind of move this and help fund this program, it's something we're all dedicated to, and we'll certainly keep this and take this into consideration. But we really appreciate. I love to see kids get involved in the community. How often do you play video games in your mom's basement?
I don't do
Excellent. Perfect. I really appreciate you guys. I have a daughter your age that's in 8th grade and at Cedar Middle School, and I love to see you guys get involved in the community. And
She should join us.
she needs something. She's not a video game kid, but she, yeah.
Always tell them, check it out. If you like it, come back. If you don't like it, there's no commitment.
Right. And her younger, like my older kids were always involved in 4-H and their after school programs and stuff, and then that kind of went away a little bit. So
Maybe we'll bring it back.
it would be great.
Which is great.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have anything to say?
I just think what Miss Cindy does is.
Say your name.
My name's Tanya Simpson, and I support Miss Cindy Rose. I'm a probation officer in Iron County, and some of my clients have donated in lieu of community service to this program to help the kids, which I think is an amazing thing. So everybody's kind of working together, and I think it needs to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8. We'll welcome Miss Kaylee Bronson Cook to the podium for a presentation on Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is April. We're in the midst of it.
Yes, we're in the midst. Yep. So, thank you so much for having me. I know it feels like I was just here because I was in October for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but I'm here today just to briefly, I don't want to take too much of your time, but like Commissioner Blake said, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. My name's Kaylee Bronson Cook. I'm the Awareness and Prevention Director at Canyon Creek Services, formerly Canyon Creek Women's Crisis Center. Canyon Creek Services, for those who may not know, is a community-based nonprofit organization that serves survivors of domestic and sexual violence and is also working to prevent this type of violence in our community. We provide free and confidential services to folks who need our help, but we also have fantastic prevention program to try to educate people on how we can prevent it. So you may have seen our clothesline projects up in Enoch, Cedar, and here in Parowan, or our pole banners in Cedar and Parowan. This is such a critical issue for our community. It's really important. Last fiscal year, Canyon Creek Services serves 217 survivors of sexual assault, and that's only the ones, obviously, that we know about. It's incredibly difficult to know the real impact, but we know that approximately 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 or 6 men, depending on which report you read, in Utah will experience some form of contact, physical, sexual violence in their lifetime, which is completely unacceptable, which is why I'm here. I submitted a proclamation, and these types of proclamations, this is the last meeting that I've attended, but I've been to Cedar, Enoch, Parowan, city or town councils, and then I've been to Garfield and Beaver County commissions because we also serve Beaver and Garfield County as well as Iron County. And so you guys are my last ones, so if I sound a little rehearsed, that's why. I've had a little bit of practice. But these proclamations just really help us kind of reach more people, where we have all of these different, community stakeholders and community leaders coming together to send a message about this really important issue. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But other than that, I just, I would submit and encourage you to sign our proclamation declaring April Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Well, thank you. I've said it in this meeting a dozen times, and I've told you a million times, from a law enforcement standpoint, prevention is so key, and we really have seen an increase in prevention, but we've also seen an increase in services, and I think we've seen a decrease of certain types of sexual violence.
Yep.
You guys really do impact the community, and we appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing because as you do more prevention, community education, and outreach, you're also serving more people. So it seems like you're not making a difference when really you are, but it kind of sends the message because more people are reaching out for help every year. Every year we have more and more people coming to us for help, more and more people reporting to law enforcement. But that doesn't say anything about our prevention. That just says that we're trying to make ourselves a little bit better now.
And it's interesting to see those numbers increase, because they absolutely do. And we see the same thing with the Children's Justice Center. Yep. As we become more proficient, our sexual abuse and child abuse cases increase.
Right.
And so, but I think that's because more people are reporting, more people
are getting help.
taking
Aware.
advantage,
Yeah.
taking advantage of the services.
Yep.
And so the numbers look like they're increasing, but really when you get to the human aspect of it and you're dealing with victims and clients, you do see what the impact is
Yes.
on the community. So
It's absolutely true. And I also just have to shout out, I know his praises have been sung in this meeting already, and he probably hates that, but Sheriff Carpenter is such an incredible partner for us. He serves on our prevention coalition. He's super involved. I mean, he spoke at our last fall for our Domestic Violence Awareness Month candlelight vigil. He spoke at. I mean, he is just, when you talk about a great community leader and community partner, you can't get better than Ken. So.
And I'll be willing to buy him a new hat if
Yeah.
he needs one after today.
Yeah, right.
Just saying.
Maybe we put in a funding request for that.
There you go.
I can get you a Canyon Creek hat. I've got one. He'll wear it too. He wears his purple pin all the time. So you've got some really great people in your county doing great work. Great people at the Children's Justice Center. Incredible people in law enforcement. So we've got a great coalition of people that are willing and to talk about this really difficult topic and willing to kind of tackle it head on. So,
well, thank you for all your efforts.
of course, thank you.
I would ask for a motion.
Oh, you actually got one more item.
Do it. What?
Yeah, I think there's two separate ones. So
Yes,
the
there
proclamation
is.
is number 9.
Yes, you're right. So we've had the presentation. Now we have the proclamation proclaiming April Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so I would ask for a motion on item number 9.
Do we do both of them or just the one? Just 9?
I think just 9, because the other was just the presentation.
action
So the action item is number 9.
So I will make the motion to approve a proclamation 2021-1 proclaiming April Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And with that, appreciation for all that you guys do. Thank you.
Also from me. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right. Item number 10 this morning is discussion approval of lease contract number 05-1997, amendment number 3 with the Utah State Courts Administrative Office of the Courts for the 5th District Juvenile Courts and 5th District Guardian Ad Litem Office located at 82 North, 100 East, Suite 204 in Cedar City. And this will be a 5-year term expiring June 30th of 2025.
So this is the lease where the state leases from us. So they actually pay us for the space in the court, the guardian ad litem. The annual payment is $49,554.14. And this contract renews. It's a 5-year renewal. So this is for years 2020, 21, 2, 3, and 4.
I read through that. So do we factor in, do we just go 5-year increments and then we look at the rate next time?
Reevaluate.
We evaluate every 5 years?
Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, if you want, we can have more of a discussion with them. They generally pay us per square foot at the same rate as everyone else. So.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Motion.
Ask for a motion.
I'll move for approval of lease contract number 05-1997, amendment number 3 with the Utah State Court Administrative Office of the Courts for the 5th District Juvenile Courts and 5th District Guardian at Lytle Office located at 82 North, 100 East, Suite 204, Cedar City, Utah, for a 5-year term expiring June 30th, 2025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There's that.
Jump in.
Please.
Lester mentioned, and it's probably good, I was thinking the same thing. There's two different suites there. They're across the hall from each other, and I didn't know if we wanted to note that on the I hadn't seen this one. I normally review those, or they usually come through me, but I didn't do this one, so
Okay.
I don't know about it. And
So,
and we
so
just
this
might
covers
wanna-
not only that, but also the,
on the north side.
yeah,
Is on the south side
Yeah.
of the hallway.
And they're both-
different suites.
but two different suites in the justice,
Yeah, they're in the same building,
yeah.
but they're different suites, and we didn't know if it would be more appropriate to have the correct suite number on there. We can just check with them and put it on when we get it done.
Just
Okay.
has Suite 204.
That's the only one listed.
Yeah, there are
There's two
two
there.
different office spaces.
So we'll make that
Suite
correction.
204 North or something.
Well, it's just two different rooms in the building. They're different,
Across the hall.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay. Well, but if you would, please help me remember that, yeah.
Item number 11, a discussion and possible approval of a vehicle sale to the Newcastle Water Company and Newcastle Reservoir Company. It was used by the Hamlin Valley Fire and Newcastle Fire Department, which is a 2005 Dodge.
Okay, so this is a follow-up from the horse training that happened
Yes.
during the last meeting, and this is, well, in fact, Commissioner, maybe, I'm sure you can speak to it more intelligently than I can.
I can't remember dates. Basically the Hamlin Valley Fire Department was dissolved with the retiring of their chief out there. We just don't have the manpower to staff the Hamlin Valley Fire Department any longer. So their equipment and everything came back. Well, it belonged to Iron County in the first place, but it was kind of redistributed. There were some items, and I don't remember exactly what went where within the county, but that equipment was redistributed among fire agencies here in Iron County, mostly Burl and Newcastle specifically. There was a 2005, and I can't remember what, is it a,
So there's
I
a,
want to say it's a, well, you tell me before I make the mistake.
oh, it's okay. So it says there's a Dodge, but there's also a Ford as well. And so the question is, he was hoping for the Dodge, which was a little bit nicer, but remember vermin infested?
Right.
Was
And then
that
the Ford
one
was-
his dad drove?
I don't know.
I think he had some,
Yeah.
Windows were open or something, and yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there were two vehicles that were in question, whether they could be of use to the Newcastle Water Company and Reservoir Company.
Yeah.
And the Dodge was the nicer of the two,
Right.
correct?
Right, that was what they had asked for. This is from Kyle Christensen over there, and then it was going to go. There's actually two different water companies. There's the Newcastle Reservoir Company and then the Newcastle Water Company.
Water,
Yeah.
right.
But they're kind of staffed by the same people, and they're hoping to just have that vehicle, inexpensively for their purposes, and they had asked for that.
Right.
if I remember right, was there a transmission issue or something with that truck?
On the Ford,
Say
I think the Dodge. I can't remember. I think the Ford was in rougher shape than the Dodge, but the Dodge was dirtier.
Oh.
If I recall.
I think the Dodge was more mechanically sound,
Yeah.
but aesthetically not very
Not so-
pleasing.
And
Yeah.
quite a bit newer. The Dodge was
Maybe
a newer
could be
truck.
cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be less money to clean it than
Than
to
yeah.
than
To
to
make
deal with the
operable.
mechanical issues of the
Yeah,
Ford.
the other one, yeah.
Um,
And so the offer, I believe, was 1,000. I think they were willing to go as high as 2 to be able to buy that truck. Now, I don't know that that's necessarily the market value, but I think that's a decision for you all as far as.
Is it four-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan.
Maybe Dan has some more information.
We've missed you, Dan. You're generally
Thank you
more
for-
participate in the meeting.
Well, we're-
Please come up.
I don't
Enlighten
remember
us.
the exact details, but I booked it out, and it seems like it booked for quite a bit higher. But of course, the book is based on it being in great condition. So I think the value of the vehicle is somewhat north of that.
Yeah.
But do we want to throw them a bone, help them out? It seems like I booked it out. It was like $8,000 or something like that. But that's assuming it's retail. You know what I mean? Ready type thing. And this is obviously not that. I
This
haven't
would certainly
seen it
be doing
myself.
them a favor. I mean,
We
there's
would
no
be
question.
doing them a favor, yes. So
And so,
the question is, how much of a favor do you want to do them?
and if we want to try and appraise it or look harder at it, this doesn't have to be necessarily taken care of today. But they did start asking in like September. We were kind of waiting on the fire truck horse trading to be done. But you know, another 2 weeks isn't going to kill them if we want to try and look harder, or like you say, I mean, to use the phrase, throwing them a bone.
I mean, we could see if there's another department that wants it. We could sell it, which we find the market value, or we can throw them a bone. You know, whatever you guys want to do.
My suggestion in this case, because of the location and I mean, really the usefulness of the truck,
Of it.
the
Condition.
I mean, I would be willing to throw them the bone and provide them with that vehicle, because we know what it's going to be used for. It's not. It's going to a quasi-governmental agency, it's not going to benefit
An individual.
a private citizen. It's.
You know, when I discussed it with Kyle, they don't have a lot of funds available.
That's what
in
I would
water
have said.
company.
Usually those water companies do not have a lot of funds.
No. I think they can do 1,000 or 2, but
Right. Well, and that particular vehicle's just been sitting in Hamlin Valley for a long time. It needs to.
It doesn't have any rat problems, does it?
When things sit, they rot. So there
Usually
may be
the
problems
issue-
with this thing.
So
They
they're-
have to work through too. So
Right.
yeah, it may not be that great of a deal by the time they get it operable. But
Yeah.
there's operable and there's farm truck operable.
I would, well, if there any further discussion, or I would take a motion if someone were to make it.
I'll make a motion to approve the vehicle sale to the Newcastle Water Company, Newcastle Reservoir Company that was used by the Hamlin Valley Fire, Newcastle Fire Department, 2005 Dodge. And I would say have them take it, fix it up, get it running, and make us a fair offer. How does that sound?
not to exceed 2,000 or something. That way they feel like they're within their.
Right. That
If
sound
you
fair?
off-
I mean,
yeah.
because they might run into things sort of really make a motion with a fixed price, and I'm like the others, to help them out. We help everybody in the county in some
Fashion.
with a lot of things, and
A lot of things.
and
Yeah.
I think we ought to do the same for Newcastle if we can. So if that sounds fair to everybody,
Do you want to put a minimum on it?
I don't know,
Do you wanna
$500.
Just leave it
maybe?
open, and we can perfect the transaction later, if you'd like, and do it in a later meeting. Or if you just want to leave it open-ended enough to say a fair price, and
How about if in the motion we just say between $500 and $1,500? Whatever they think's fair based on what it costs them to get it going. And
To get it going. Yeah.
that sound fair enough?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
that's a good motion.
I'll wait until you vote on it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I was going to say, John, if you get me the details on that, the VIN and what the final price is after the whole thing's done, so I can get it disposed of within our system.
Well, and we will as well, as far as
Yeah,
the tracking.
registration and stuff. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to hang here for the next one too.
Okay.
Wait, I don't go sit down and come back up.
Item number 12, approval of an ATV sale from the weed department.
Now, was this the because they had a fairly new
four-seater,
one, and
Is
and we got thinking. I remember we talked about this at budget time, that we approved him to go get a one that would be that would work a little better for him, that had an air conditioning unit because
Right.
the equipment was overheating.
Right.
So I believe this is the disposition of the other one, right?
Yeah, so this is the 2018 Honda Pioneer. It has 3,815 miles, excuse me. A street legal kit, 14-inch wheels with DOT tires, and a full hard top. So I mean, it's a nice one. He says, I believe it should sell for no less than $18,000, and we were just looking for approval on this to be able to put it on the public surplus website.
And the whole thinking here was that we
18,000
talked about
zero.
doing a trade-in. There's a real shortage of ATVs in the system due to all the outdoor recreation. We figured we could get better money rather than doing a wholesale trade-in to the dealership that we bought the other one. That we were actually just going to sell this and see if we could maximize our return on that. That was kind of the whole idea.
And
So,
I believe the new one is already
yeah, has been
in operation. So.
Need to make a motion?
Yeah, I remember that whole conversation. Yes.
I'd moved for approval on an ATV sale from the weed department, being more than 18,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 13 is discussion and approval of a 20-year special use permit with Dixie National Forest for the purpose of operation and maintenance of a water system and supply from an unnamed spring to private land.
So this is the water supply for Woods Ranch, and this just has to be renewed every, was it 20 years?
20 years.
20 years. And, yeah, so this is the contract for that. Was hoping to find the cost right away.
Is the private land Woods Ranch?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
when they say that, that's what they mean. But
Okay.
we're
The
the
counties.
county is public, but yeah, as far as the BLM
Yeah,
goes,
I wondered that.
right.
That didn't sound quite right.
Right, and then we pay an annual fee on that
Oh, to the Forest Service.
for the use and for having because we run like 400 or 500 feet of water line under there, and yeah, it's just up that draw on the Persian River Rim Trail.
Okay, I'll move to approve the 20-year special use permit with the Dixie National Forest for the purpose of operation and maintenance of a water system and supply from an unnamed spring to private land.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think I got all the lines.
Track you down if you didn't.
All right, item number 14 is discussion and approval of updating Iron County's procurement policy.
Mr. Dan.
Dan Jessen, our auditor.
So I've given a copy of these changes. Normally this is something that we work kind of hand in hand with the attorney's office of doing. Procurement pretty much falls under my office, what we do. Senate bill, and I talked about this when I did my quarterly report, Senate Bill 201 passed and was signed by the governor. And Senate Bill 201, if I can just really wrap it up real quick, was kind of an icebreaker bill on starting to wind down the dedicated use of the newspaper for public noticing. As the newspaper is becoming, it's just as a result of technology, less and less and less used. It's not really the primary method that the public use anymore to get their information. Instead, they're doing things online. So this bill actually affected like 6,000 lines of state code. One of the things, as I was combing through all of it to see what it affected, it affected a fair amount of things in John's elections world. It didn't affect counties too much. It affected cities and a fair amount of things in Reed's world with zoning, different noticing and things like that. All of the really big, important noticing that we do as far as budget and public meetings and stuff like that still has to be done in the paper. But one of the things I noticed was it affected the public noticing for procurement when we're doing an RFP. When we do RFPs, really the main purpose is to make sure that there's a fair chance by all potential bidders to access, procurement from entities, from government entities, right? So if you want to be able to try to sell stuff to the government or provide services to the government, you have a fair chance as much as any other business, right, to do that. The government has to go through a very transparent process to pick, and what the government's trying to do is find the best value with our taxpayers' funds, right? So this 201 updates the fact that we have had to throw these in the newspaper, and the problem with that is that, again, businesses really don't use the newspapers much anymore. They tend to reach out electronically. They're going to look at our websites and so forth. So this bill, it wasn't something we asked for. I'm not sure who pushed it. Made it so that instead of it X'd out that we have to advertise for at least 7 days in a newspaper of general circulation, it now just says that we have to do it on the main website of the procurement unit, which is us. I've been working with IT. I've been working with our new guy, Justin McDonald, in reworking our website so that we can do more public noticing. I've been working with John a little bit, and I've talked to Justin about how we really need to make sure that it's not just from my perspective as the auditor and the things that I do, but we need to make sure that our website is really super handy, that the public can just go right on the main page and they can see public notices, and whether it be us noticing a public meeting, and there's things that we'll still put in the paper. But I think, at least from my opinion, now this is just really my opinion, doesn't have to do with procurement, but I would think that we would want to have everything we do that has to do with a public notice, whether it's a budget, whether it's meetings and all these things, right there on our website, and really have that be our primary use of advertising things to the public, right where they can see it. They can go there. That's what people just knee-jerk do. Let's go look at the website and see. We'll continue to do everything we have to according to code to put it in the paper in certain circumstances, and there's things that we have to put on the on bulletins and so forth. But that's my thought, at least from the website perspective, is that we should start using that more and more. And we want to make it really friendly to the public. We want to make it very well thought through, so that it's kind of dum-dum proof. Me as a dum-dum non-techie guy, I can just look at it and see what I'm looking at. IT guys may understand it one way, and then the general public, like ourselves, we'll be like, well, no, that doesn't make sense. So I've reached out for to have Reed's input, to have John's input, as their departments do a lot of public noticing, but the commissioners, if you want to throw anything in there, that would be great. But today, I would like to update our procurement policy that will allow us, specifically, what we would strike is when we're doing an RFP, which stands for Request for Proposal, or the formal bidding process, rather than put it in the paper, and I have actually struck out published in a newspaper of general circulation in the county at least 10 days before the opening of the bids. Rather than that, it would say posted on the county website at least 10 days before the date of the opening bids. And also I'd like to strike out having to put it on the bulletin boards, which, we can do whatever you want to do. The reason being there is because I don't know if we're doing that right now. Like if Lester, if you're doing one, I don't think you're going to all the different public bulletin boards and putting up a bid. Public notice website, throw it in the newspaper.
Right.
The whole point of this change is that we would use the website as the primary method of posting this, which is within the Utah code now, the way it's now written.
Do you address the public notice website? Or
Well, it says or.
Okay.
It says that we can do it. We don't have to put it on the public notice website. It is there as an option for us to do that. And if we don't have our own website, then we could just primarily put it there if we wanted to. But if we have our own, then we can just put it here. Now, again, if we're trying to get as many possible bids as possible, let's say we're doing we're doing an RFP for well, here's an example. We just barely did one for the sheriff's office for ammunition. They can buy ammunition through state contract. Well, guess what? Nobody wants to sell ammunition at the state contract price right now. They may have a limited number of rounds, and we all know what the value of ammunition has done. So they literally will not sell us ammunition at the public. They just say they're out of stock of that ammo. Well, they're turning around and selling that ammo for 10 times the price on the private market. So we've been struggling to procure ammunition for the sheriff's department. So I talked to Adele and I said, let's do an RFP. And he goes, in the newspaper for ammunition? I said, you never know. We may find a ammunition company and we want to throw as wide of a net as possible that would love to actually, have a contract with the county, and we can, instead of paying 10 times the price that we normally would pay, maybe we only have to pay 5 times the price, and so we did that. And we wanted to throw as big of a net as possible. So we actually went through the process. We put it in the newspaper. We threw it out there as big as we could. So in a case like that, we'd want to put it on the state's procurement website and everything. Let's say we want to do an RFP for local landscapers to do landscaping at the courthouse. We don't want to put that on the state's website. We want to actually really try and find a local landscaping company that would do that. And so one of the other changes to this code, and I think it's a change, but I'm pretty sure it is. It says right in there. Now, this is something that's been in our policy, that if we put it on our website, we have, and I don't have the full code here. I guess I should have printed off the full adjustment to 201. It's massive, so I won't. But it basically says that if we've gone ahead and done this and we put it on our website, we can actually reach out to contractors or to potential vendors at our leisure. Say, hey, this is out there. Will you please bid on it? It used to be in the past that if you reached out to one, you had to reach out to every last person possible and all this stuff. So it kind of hamstrung us. Now it says right in the code, we can reach out and ask people to go look at it and bid. So it kind of hogties us a little bit. Again, we want to be fair. We want to be transparent. And I know that that's our intention, and our procurement code still says that we do that. But we ultimately want to find the best value and get the lowest price for the same commensurate level of bill of goods or services or whatever that we're looking for. So, anyways, the only thing really we're changing today, if you guys approve it, is allowing us to put it in the on our website instead of in the newspaper. But I'm excited. This procurement is one of the things, and doing RFPs, that our departments, they absolutely they hate it. They're like, how can I avoid doing it? They always want to look at the exceptions to doing the bidding process, and obviously the easiest exception is to buy it under state bid. If you can find a state bid, well, sometimes you can beat state bid just by going through a bidding process and throwing it on in this process. So if we can make it a little bit easier for our departments, I can give them a standard form that they can fill out and put in. I think we'll actually get better procurement in Iron County, more transparent. We can get better prices, because really that's what we want to do. So anyways, that's pretty much my spiel on this. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain or talk about.
I have no questions. Call for a motion.
Move for approval on updating the Iron County's procurement policy.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we'll start doing that as soon as we have functionality on the website.
All right, for the next handful of items, 15 through 22, we will step out of our role as the Iron County Commission into our role as the Iron County Community Development and Renewal Agency and turn the time over to Danny Stewart.
Morning, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here. This looks more daunting than it is with this many agenda items, but these are the last two companies that have requested the property tax reimbursement according to the agreements that were formed with them, the development of these solar projects. So agenda items 15 through 18, these are projects, Burrow, Buckhorn, Cedar Valley, and Sun Edison, the Fiddlers projects. These are all the 3 megawatt projects that are throughout the county. And then the following ones belong to Dominion Energy. These companies made their request. They beat that April 1st deadline to make their request. They provided the information to demonstrate that they met the participation agreements associated with these developments. And I'm here before you to just report that they've done what they said they were going to do, and they've made their request, and everything appears to be in order. And if you really can't sleep, you've got about 130 pages worth of documentation between these. So, but anyway, this is the last of these for the year. I don't have those. If you'd like them, I've been receiving them and just making sure that they're compliant. And I haven't talked with Dan about the amounts, but if you'd like them, then.
I think we're good as long as we know that, as long as we're comfortable that they're in
I think they were on the
compliance.
documentation,
Mhm.
so I don't know that we need to put that in the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then Nicole just pointed out, we were going to add to that paperwork that they put in their address as part of their. Did we do that? The part of the problem is these get sold from year to year as companies want to have green energy in their portfolio, and then we have a hard time cutting the check because we don't know where to cut it to. So, anyways.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I made that request, but we did not amend the agreements that we have with them to include that. That's something that we could have done easily. In the meantime, I can follow up with these two. The one is Dominion, the other is Terraform.
I think we have both of those.
I kept them with them. I call them every year just to make sure, and they do. I usually have 1 or 2 changes every year, whether they've changed buildings or they're using a PO box or something. I thought that just might be easier for August if it just had the amount and a good address for her to mail those.
So I actually suggest maybe, Danny, when they reach out to you, just maybe as a matter of just your unofficial procedure, just to say, hey, now we've had problems in the past getting hold of you. Is your address updated? Is this correct? And just verify their address, because they're gonna, they will have contact by April 1st, because they want their money. And maybe just if you could just remember to double check with them on their address each time, that's probably the best.
Yeah. And I don't send them a copy of the original agreement, but I send them a one-page kind of a worksheet that's built off of those agreements. I can make that request on that worksheet, and then we don't have to go through legal to do that. It'll just be a request.
That would actually be
and
good,
I can turn
because
those back to you.
that sheet gets stored in my vault, and that would show what the address is and was. So that'd be a great procedural change. And nothing official, just add it to that sheet.
I'm happy to do that, and I'll just follow up on these if you'd like and make sure that we have those correct, so we're not getting any problems.
Okay, so you want those amounts, and I'll just go from 15 down to 22 in order. Earl Solar, $26,327.92. Buckhorn Solar,
What was that? 26,327.92.
Two.
Okay.
Buckhorn, $29,436.47. Cedar Valley, $27,096.12. Sun Edison Solar, $77,767.94. Iron Springs Solar. These were the big ones. $793,035.27. Granite Mountain West, $532,691.92. Granite Mountain East, $819,903.36. Enterprise Solar, $779,698.52. So when Nicole tells you how much money you have in the bank, you got to keep in mind a couple million of it is these solar companies' money that we hold for a little bit.
Thanks, Dan. You have any other questions about these requests?
No.
Okay.
We need to, can we do these together somewhat? Or?
Let's do, well, since they're different, since we have different amounts, let's do them all separate.
Do them all?
But why don't whoever's next take the first several, and then the next one take the Dominion Energy?
Okay, I'll take the first four, because that's the Buckhorn, right?
Yeah.
And the
Buckhorn through Sun Edison.
Last four is Sun Edison.
Yeah, so 15, 16, 17, 18 are the
Sun Edison, that's right.
Terraform.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. So I move to approve agenda item 15, review and possible approval of tax increment payment for Burl Solar for 2020 in the amount of $26,327.92. This is where you come in, Marilyn.
This is the second.
Move for approval on a
Actually,
tax increment.
second the first one.
Need to
Oh,
second that.
second. Sorry.
Moved and seconded, all in favor of 15.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 15 is approved.
Move to approve the tax increment payment for Buckhorn Solar for 2020, $29,436.47.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor of 16. Aye.
Aye.
It is
To
approved.
approve the tax increment payment for Cedar Valley Solar for 2020, in the amount of $27,096.12.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 18, move to approve the tax increment payment for Sun Edison Solar for 2020 in the amount of $77,767.94.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor on number 18. Do I have ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, Mike. John
I
interrupted me.
didn't get
That's
all
fine.
Sorry,
of
that was
these,
my bad.
and Dan left.
That's
You
fine.
have the, yeah. 19, move for approval of the tax increment payment for Iron Springs Solar for 2020, and it was $793,000, and I didn't get all of them.
$793.35.27, I think.
Okay, so if you've got those, go ahead and say those, Paul.
Okay.
And I don't have them. Do you want a second?
Do we have a second?
Second, sorry.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 19 is approved.
And 20, move for approval of tax increment payment for Granite Mountain West Solar for 2020, and I didn't get that either.
That was $532,691.92. And I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 21.
Okay, move for approval of tax increment payment for Granite Mountain East Solar for 2020.
That was $819,903.36. Second that.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye. Move for approval of tax increment payment for Enterprise Solar for 2020. And it
That was
was
$779.
$1,079.
It was $779,698.52.
52 cents. Okay.
And I'll second that.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
We
right.
made it.
That was painful.
Thank you very
but we
much.
did
We'll
it.
be back in about 9 months with a few more tongue twisters for
All
you.
right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Danny.
All right, at this point, we'll reconvene back in order as the Iron County Commission. Item number 23, discussion and possible deferral of taxes for appraiser parcel number B-90-5, presented by John Whitaker.
So this is a home that will be coming to tax sale this year. I meant to do the math on the break. I may have to do that here, but the husband lost his job of 21 years, and then lost his overtime hours with a new job. And then the wife lost her job. Now they've gotten new jobs, and they feel like they can make the payments. And what they're asking for is a deferral. So as a reminder, with the deferral, the way it works is all of the back taxes are added up plus this year's taxes and divide that by 12, and they agree to make a monthly payment of 1/12 of that amount until next year, over the next 12 months, and then they'll be caught up. And it allows us to not have them in a position to lose their home, and allows them to keep their home. And neither the county nor any of the entities that depend on the tax revenue that we receive is shorted by that. And it's a way that basically you're just allowing them to make payments for a year.
John, they need to pay it before March 15th to avoid that.
Of next year, right? Yeah. Right. Oh, that's right. And so actually we need to...
It would be less than 12 months then.
It would be, yeah, because we're past that date. Thank you. That actually changes it to an 11-month payback. So now you get to wait for me to do the math that I didn't do. So the total back owing is $28,62.94. The estimated tax for 2021 is $13.25 and 24. Are you following along with me, Paul? Nope.
Pardon me?
I thought you were following along with your calculator.
No. You want me to?
No, it's yeah. So
What you got?
2862.94
2862.94.
0.94
Okay.
plus 1375
1575
0.24
24
divided by 11
equals divided by 11
Uh-huh.
is $385 and 29 cents if you round it up.
29 with rounding.
Mm-hmm.
So then in the agreement, if you approve it, that would be the monthly payment of $385.29.
11 payments.
11 payments. And we would. There's actually an agreement that Commissioner Blake will sign, and the party, the owners will sign, saying that the county agrees to defer the taxes, and that they agree to make the back payments in those 11 monthly payments of $385.29.
Okay. What? Just out of curiosity, two questions.
Yeah.
Do we charge interest on this? And
We do not.
Okay, and that's fair. I
We-
just
there's
I just didn't know.
yeah, no. So there's back interest and then interest on the total amount that ratchets
That's
up
so
all
the
the
back interest is included in this,
correct.
but we don't charge interest on the deferment.
Yeah. So and then there's penalties, like for example, like Nicole was saying, it's a $350 fee now
For the title search.
for the title search that happens on March 15th, which that date has come and gone. And I just want to shout out to the treasurer's office. They do a remarkable job helping folks avoid that. And they'll get phone calls, certified mail, smoke signals, whatever that they will. And I mean, they'll send me, and they're very thorough to try and help people avoid this pain, because we want to be able to keep the county going and all the entities that provide that we collect money for, but we also don't want to be in the business of taking people's houses or cause undue pain throughout this. And so they do. It's kind of thankless, and that's why I'm doing it here. They do a remarkable job at helping those folks navigate that and understand the rules and the state laws which we are governed by. With that, I'll be quiet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. Thank you. 'Cause
I thought you were thanking me for being quiet. Which,
Well,
Well, that might be in there.
might
I'll
be,
take it.
but-
I'll take it.
But
Just
We as a county don't want to take your house, and it's the treasurer's office that really works hard to make sure that we do everything we can for that not to happen. So that's awesome. So
Motion.
ask for a motion.
Okay, I will make a motion to defer the taxes for APN number B-90-5 in the amount of 11 total payments of $385.29.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Item number.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
And we changed that to 11 because there would have been another tax or another that $300 whatever it was. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Nope.
Right. Would have been almost as much as the other payments. So, okay.
Yeah. Oh, here are these, John.
Nicole, could you come up to the microphone?
State your name.
You'll save me from getting yelled at, so
Nicole
please.
Rosenberg, Iron County Treasurer.
Thank you.
We have Robert Worley. He received a deferral last year, and he's, I think, only made one payment. So he is on our list, and we've been diligently trying to get a hold of him. We have a phone number, and we've just not been able to.
I've
get
gone by the house but haven't caught him. I'll try again.
All right. Just thought I would let you know on that one. He's one we're really worried about just because we can't get a response from him. So we are actually talking about sending the sheriff. He's so great to help us. And so we have 2 or 3 homes that we usually contact Ken and Dell, and they'll send a sheriff by to actually attach notice to their house. So yeah, so we're trying to get in touch with him, but just wanted you to know on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lester.
Did you guys finish that vote? They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my bad. I didn't catch it. Yeah.
You know, John, you were too busy being quiet, and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Quiet is a tall order for me.
Discussion and approval of a contract between Iron County and Carter Brothers for the fair building.
It's actually Carter Enterprises, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Just for
Carter Brothers is the old school.
Yeah, that's the old one.
We fix it in a minute. But
Okay. Okay.
While Lester's handing stuff out, I don't know, several years ago, I got in a foot pursuit with some bandits behind Delray Auto. And as I'm chasing them, I couldn't think of anything to say except for we're running behind Al's Bug Hut. Unfortunately, the other officers on are like, I know right where you're at. they were Cedar boys, have been around for a long time. So
when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually in the official contract, which I have right here, it is actually Carter Enterprises Incorporated. So we went through the RFP process that Dan was talking about, and I'm going to take a moment to thank you for changing that, because I do.
That affects Lester a lot.
It affects me a lot, and I placed these all in the newspaper, and I have a list of contractors who have ever bidded for me in the past, whoever may bid for me, even think about it, and they also get emailed. Just
your safe list.
My safe list, trying to get people to bid, and yeah. So this project is for 2 different buildings. It's for a 50 by 70 foot steel building, concrete floor with electrical in it. There'll be a slight amendment in the contract because of we called out for some 240 volt outlets, which we actually can't do because it's not available.
Oh.
We have a 208 system right next to it, and so we can't get the 240, but there's plenty of power to do what Joyce wants to do in there.
Okay.
So, and then the second building is 33 by 161 foot shade and rain cover. We're going to dismantle the existing grandstands, and this will replace the grandstands. So this is an overall project that the fair has been working on. So the total of the contract on this is $389,563. That is for both buildings and the concrete. The bleachers are not included in this contract. That will be a different one. And I don't know if Commissioner Cousins wants to touch on it. The overall budget, this does put us over the total budget amount that we originally budgeted. It's just about over 100,000 over the total budget with the contract that we have.
Yeah, this didn't include the bleachers, and I think the bleachers. Oh shoot, I'd have to.
I know.
pull it
I
up. I think it was
too, but I didn't.
I think it was about $110,000 or something and change. If you don't, please don't quote me, but I think that was about what it was. And then the signs, and then the electronic signs were. I can hurry and pull that up.
Electronic signs were about 40,000. It roughly puts us about 100,000 short total for all the projects.
See, fair improvements. Let me just. I've got it right here. Pull it up.
Now this is on this year's budget and next year's, because what we're going to be doing one building, hopefully that will be done before the fair, and then the second building will happen after the fair.
Yeah, the signs I had down were.
And the bleachers will be off after also, right?
That's the grandstands will be done after the fair is complete. They'll go in and then
tear those all out.
Yeah.
So the signs were 42,000, and I think that Joyce had it arranged to install those by an electrical company that was going to donate some time, and then the bleachers were 105,000 from what I had down, and that was installed.
Yeah.
So, but
so to be clear,
mm-hmm.
the 105 for the bleachers, we're talking about at a different time, right? That's not.
Yeah, that's not part of this.
That's not in contract.
And so the 399,563 is over the original budget.
389.
389.
389,563.
563.
It's not over your original budget, but
with the
for the
bleachers,
total project, for everything that you.
The budget is 400,000, which we're supposed to do all this stuff with, which we're gonna have to do an amendment.
So the total original budget was 400,000. This project came in at 389,563,
plus the 42,000 for signs,
which has already been done. And
No.
the bleachers.
It's already been ordered.
Oh, I thought that was done. Okay.
plus the 105,000 for the bleachers.
Okay.
So,
thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
And
What about the tear out?
And then the tear out, we're probably going to do that in house. So the county, this RFP was based on the county providing the slabs.
Yeah.
We already did the soils report on the. I had Gem Engineering do a soils report on the one by the 50 by 70 building, and so that's been done. And excuse me, Preston's going to do the slab
Meeting
or the
Preston
pad.
today, and we're going to actually lay out the first building, and the road department is going to come in and do the over-X and then the recompaction. So this is essentially Carter Brothers will be able to come in at almost finished floor, dig the footings, put the footings in. That's the extent of their dirt work.
So the road department's going to do the demo? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to
So
clarify.
we're talking about two things. So
Oh,
the 50 by 70 building, we've already done the soils report. Iron County's going to come in and do the over-X, which is about 18 inches.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's got good base, but they're going to do about 18 inches of over-X, recompact it.
This is for the new building.
This is for the new 50 by 70.
Okay.
And then they're going to put some road base, compact that, and have it ready for the slab.
Okay.
And then the contractor will come in and dig footings.
And that's part of the contract, the 389.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, we're taking care of that.
Compact.
The Iron County's taking care of that cost.
That's
not in the
road
contract.
department is taking care of that for us.
And then,
Keep costs.
and then that includes a 4-foot apron or all the way around the building, concrete apron. And then Preston said he would repave from that apron over to the gate. So he'd do a nice pavement after that stuff.
If you
So
look on
that's
that,
not in the
on
contract
that,
either.
there's a site map that's included on there. It kind of shows what
Okay.
we're doing.
And it's
there.
not going to be insulated or heated.
No.
It's just going to have some electrical and
If it has lights, power, and cover.
14 by 14 garage door on both ends with some man doors.
Yeah, it's primarily for storing their floats and
Float
building the
storage.
floats and stuff.
Okay.
Oh.
But we decided, well, if we're making the building and it's going to be on the fairgrounds, let's add power and stuff in it so you can use it for events
Sure.
during
Yeah,
the
I think
fair.
Joyce was going to open it up and let some vendors use it
That'd be
during
great.
the fair.
Yeah.
So So does the contract then include the 33 by 161, which I'm assuming are the old grandstands?
Yes.
So after the fair's over, the old grandstands will be torn down by Iron County and hauled away
That's
by.
going to actually be, well, we're going to have to discuss
sorry.
that.
Okay.
We'll be a cooperative group between Iron County and Parolan City. We're actually going to need to go to Parolan City.
They own the land, right?
We're actually what?
I'm making an appointment with Parolan City Council on those grandstands.
Okay. To do what?
On the grandstands. The grandstands
Tear 'em
are actually
down?
on Parolan City property.
I see.
Property.
Okay. So we have to get approval from them to tear them
get
down.
approval from them for that one. I sent an email to Mike on that one.
But this contract includes the construction of the 50 by 75 and the construction of the reconstruction of the grandstands after the fair and the demo and assuming approval by parents.
It does not include the demo.
But don't worry,
Iron County will take care of that.
Parolan City, there's approval for the grandstands to be replaced. That's not an issue. It's there's some nuances that I'm working with Cleve Mathis and Parolan City on right now.
And for the record, and we've said this before, but for the record, we're doing this for safety reasons. Those grandstands were built by the CCC
in the 30s.
And in fact, they were built in another location by the CCC, torn apart and relocated to that location. And there's lumber rotting. It's just time. If we had a failure with that many spectators on there, it would be a disaster, obviously.
And
so
as a reminder, Chad Ney had looked at it about 5 years ago, saying it's got a life of 5 years at the most. Chad Ney, our former building administrator. So we're not on borrowed time. We're done. So as far as safety goes.
We did a lot of work on them about 5 years ago, and they should have been replaced 5 years ago, but we didn't want to do it then. So
I think we're going to be in trouble for it, though.
Well, and we hope people understand that
the safety
that
issue.
It's just, they're nostalgic. I love them just as much as anybody,
right.
But when you consider someone getting hurt, even one person, it's not worth it. It's just, and if you had a failure of a magnitude like that, it would be disastrous for everybody involved. So we just can't. We've just got to do it. So.
In fact, that was my son's Eagle project a few years ago. Was the paint job that they now have, and it was kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. hate to see it go, but yeah.
Well, safety is paramount, and
I
the
have
historical part is cool.
Sorry, John. I have had some people contact me and others about salvaging the materials in there, and I suppose we could possibly entertain that, but they would have to be licensed and insured to protect the county, I believe, right? If we entertain
liability,
that.
Well, and that's what Parolan City. This sounds like for the nostalgic purposes, they want to take some of it to do something with, just because of that. And so I'll work that out more with them during the process. That one, I'm primarily trying to get the first building running, and so I actually have two different approvals I'm working with them on. The first one is on the first building, and there's no problem. They're going to sign that one. That is on county property. We actually don't need to get their approval, but it's polite to get everybody's approval.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll be with that one. I'm putting in the application, and then we'll get the approval for the grandstands as well.
Just one more.
They can have all they want. They just got to tear them down.
That's right. Go to cutting.
Just one more thing I'll mention too. Joyce has spent a lot of time talking to different vendors on materials and labor to help with the costs of this, and so this is a full price bid. And I did talk to Chad Carter that there's some suppliers of the concrete that have offered to substantially reduce the price per yard. And so I asked Chad Carter if he would coordinate with Joyce and see what those discounts would have been, and pass those on to us, and he said be happy to. So that number could go down.
Great.
So. And there was some labor. There was some companies that offered to reduce, the labor on installing the pads, but because Carter's crews do that themselves, that wouldn't be applicable here.
Yeah, and we can't legally. I can't say go and use so and so because they already gave us a great rate.
Right.
When I'm doing my request,
that's not a problem, right, Lester?
Still,
as far as materials, as far as passing discounts on to us.
If they can pass all the discounts on what they want to us, as long as Carter Brothers is comfortable with it. So.
Move.
Yeah,
Move-
call for a
Approve.
motion.
I'll move for approval for the contract between Iron County and Carter Brothers for the fair buildings. $389,563.
I'll second that, and just clarify that it's actually Carter Enterprises.
Oh, Carter Enterprises.
And
Sorry.
with that, if you're okay, Commissioner Wood, I'll include in my second that any discounts on material that's been
Will come forth.
that has been done with
Offered.
Joyce offered that'll be passed through to the county for some savings.
And we'll keep it documented.
Okay,
All right,
good.
it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, item number 25. Discussion and approval of USDA Forest Service special use permit for Vermilion Castle 5-mile picnic area, presented by Mike Worthen.
Morning, Commissioners. Probably about afternoon, isn't it?
Almost.
Yep, it's close. 5 minutes.
Okay, I got 5 minutes then. This is a long coming permit from the Forest Service to restore the 5-mile Vermilion Cliffs or Vermilion Castle picnic area up Parolan Canyon. And it started when Alma seen it and said, hey, we need to do something with it, being a old time Parolanite. And so everything was put in motion. We've just been waiting for the Forest Service to tell us what we can do, what we can't do, or we applied for a permit. And finally, we have a permit to consider, a special use permit, which allows us to restore that area. So this is the permit. It has a lot of boilerplate language in it. In fact, they discourage changing anything in it. They will change anything we need changed through a waiver letter. For example, fees, we already agreed that because we're a government entity, they will not charge us fees to run that concession or that picnic area. So that'll come through a waiver letter. And anyway, this is what we've got. I should mention I have put in for a grant for this to help restore this with the state of Utah, the outdoor recreation grant. And it's about, the whole project is close to $200,000. It's a little over $200,000, and so we're applying for a grant for $109,000. And the county's end of that grant is cash. What we call cash is $59,000, and about $43,000 of that is the a part-time or a seasonal employee that will kind of oversee or keep the maintenance lined out and going during that time period, helping Maria because she's only got one person to do that with. So that's the big part of it. There's also some stuff that we can do that to offset that. Anytime I put time into that project, it can be shown as cash because I'm a contractor. So you don't pay me out of as a county employee. So that's helped out a lot on all these grants that we get. Anyway, that's what I've got. I don't know whether Mike's got any comments or concerns with the permit or not.
Okay.
I've just got a comment. Commissioner Wood mentioned some of the planks. Those really nice, beautiful planks were stolen. I'm hoping we could take some of those native red cedar trees and salvage those and saw them up maybe and get some planks out of them to replace those.
Yeah, we would have to. I've requested a meeting with the Forest Service up there this week to
identify which trees will go and which trees will stay, so we can get the landscaping crew in there. One thing that we do have to wait on, which is unfortunate, but we have to wait on the grant. And that grant was submitted in the mid-March, and I doubt they'll probably do anything with it until the 1st of May. Hopefully we'll have something by the mid-May that then we can start working, so we can show anything that we do in there to count against that grant. If we go early, we can't show that funding. So
we can't start until we get that approval?
yeah.
And the grant comes through the state, or
What's
where
that?
does the grant come from?
The state.
State, okay.
Yeah. The Office of the Outdoor and Recreation.
Usually how long are they out, those grants?
It's a 2-year grant is what we've requested for.
Okay.
And so.
But we won't hear back from them for
No.
a couple of months?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
For probably at least another, tell you, sometime in May, I expect it to happen.
Okay.
If we get the grant, that's still, we just applied for it. We don't know whether we're going to get it or not. Also, one thing I was thinking of doing is going up there, and as soon as we get this signed by the Forest Service, is pulling those tops, whatever tops are left off those tables, and then storing them down at the road.
The other thing we need to do is pin all of those picnic tables that we have to put back. If we start tearing that out, we need to have all those pinned, right?
Yeah.
We had
Yeah, well,
somebody that we could
I've
do that.
asked Ken Richards to help me do that.
Yeah.
He'll go up and GPS all the whatever.
But if you do that before, you won't be able to count that toward the grant either, right?
No. So that's the thing. That's the bad thing about it.
Yeah.
But I think it'll work out. I don't have a problem with moving forward and doing what we need to
Few
do.
things that we can.
Yeah, and I may mention the water system up there too is about a mile above the picnic area. It broke last spring. It's about I think it's a 6 or 8 inch. I think it's an 8-inch pipe that comes down. Parolan City use it. They used to use it as culinary water, but because it was pretty laborious to maintain the water quality condition of that spring, so they just used it as irrigation water. And so if we want to put potable water into the system, then we would have to do the water quality. And before we do that, we've said let's go up and look at it. We'll do the water test, see what it needs, and the Forest Service would then have to fix the break, and then we could get water down. I personally think it's a good situation just to have maybe two fire hydrants in that picnic area because of the.
Because we'll
things
have
we've seen
fire
lately.
rings there,
Yeah.
the existing fire rings. So I think that's important, really important.
Well, the existing tank, is it sufficient to supply?
I'm not sure whether there is a tank of some type there, but I'm not sure how big it is. It's enclosed. You have to wade across the creek to get to it because the little pathway is washed out, and so that's something we'll have to work with on that.
The other thing is the pavilion. You'll have to get a hold of the historical.
SHPO, the State Historical Office, to determine, because it is a 1930 building built by the CCC, it is a historical building. And then for us to do anything, they have to do their analysis, which they did, and then they have to tell us, okay, here's what you can do to restore that. And hopefully they'll have a little money to help us with that.
It's in pretty good shape. Just needs some
It's
bench
not in
repair
bad-
on
Roofing.
the
Roof needs
roofing and some bench
replaced,
repair on
and
the end.
There's probably a little bit of rot in some of the logs or something, but
Not
it's in
bad
pretty good
though.
shape.
It's in
No.
pretty good shape.
Floor seems to be good, solid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I loved it. I hadn't seen that before our trip up there, and I was really impressed with that. That's really neat.
yeah. So anyway, that's where we are with it. So we'll if the commission approves this permit, then I'll take it to the Forest Service and have them sign it, and then we can start doing a few stuff around there. It won't be too bad. Another thing, anything that we add to that isn't on the existing property, such as a second toilet or move a campground or a picnic area spot or add more, we have to do an environmental assessment, or the Forest Service has to do an environmental assessment. And that can take, I would imagine that shouldn't be too bad, maybe 6 months. And but I'll start working with that and identifying those additional things that we would like, and start their process with it.
Mike, do you think that this could end up like our Three Peaks where the BLM deeded it to us? Do you think we can ever end up owning it as a county?
Well,
or is that
that's another discussion I had with Marilyn. I felt that maybe we should consider looking at trying to acquire that some way, whether
I actually
congressionally or
called
trading or something else.
Adam Snow with Chris Stewart, but he didn't get back to me yet.
Good.
So.
Good.
Didn't you say, Mike, that you had talked to Chris Stewart before?
Yeah, we talked to him pretty extensively when we first
about that
started the project, and yeah, they were on board.
It's a process. It's probably a 2 to 5 year process if you have everything lined up to do, but it can be done.
Is it where it's surrounded by Forest Service, right, or not?
The south side is Sitla.
Oh,
outside of the road. So and they haven't liked to do isolated tracks surrounded by Forest Service, but this one is right on the Sitla line.
But the other three sides are forest.
What's that?
The other three sides of the land are bordered by Forest Service. All right.
Call for a motion.
Well, I'll move to approve. We ought to have probably Alma here with a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
I talked to him the other day and
Or make this motion.
That's not a kid.
Work with Parolan, and he was excited to do it.
But I'll move to approve the USDA Forest Service special use permit for Vermilion Castle 5 Mile picnic area.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That one for John.
Thank you.
Item number 26, personnel. Finally down to Jen and
Yay.
Hello. All right. First, we're going to start in the assessor's office for your approval. Teresa Caldwell has been selected for a promotion from personal property specialist to the newly approved position of lead personal property assessor with corresponding pay, effective date 4/18 of 2021. And I don't know if you wanted to approve that first before we go on to the second one.
yeah, let's just do them all separate.
In the assessors, I'd move for approval for promotion for Teresa Caldwell from personal property specialist to the lead personal property assessor, newly approved position, effective April 18th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank you.
I'm all about the charts, so. In the auditor's office with pending retirement for Deputy Auditor Christine on the horizon, now's a good time to evaluate the office in order to adapt for future growth. Dan and I have worked together to evaluate some of the job descriptions, and for your consideration, there's a couple of the job descriptions back there, so I'll leave the time to Dan to kind of explain what's good for his department. And then if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Jen. I don't think Jen gets enough of a shout out. She does a great job of HR.
She does.
It's an impossible
She
job.
really does.
It's an impossible job. She did not.
I'll buy you a new hat too.
She did not ask me for that. Yeah, bribe. So yeah, bittersweet. time as we get ready for Christine's retirement. She's been at the county, and we'll talk about her retiring, but of a necessity, I am moving forward. I have, I guess if I'm doing this in a public meeting, it's kind of official. I'll be naming Carrie Christensen the replacement chief deputy auditor. And as a result, as I backfill, I have to go through and do some reorganization of job duties and so forth. I saw this as an opportunity to take a little bit of a time to improve what we do. Naturally, as the county grows, my office, the structure of it will change. Larger auditors' offices have a controller, and they have accountants, and they have budget specialist people, and they have internal auditors, and they have all these types of people. Of course, we're small. We're at that uncomfortable growth stage where I obviously I can't step away. I'm not administrative like the larger ones purely. I do all of the accounting and the accounting type stuff. One of the challenges that we have right now is I'm a single point of failure for the county. Heaven forbid I get cancer or something like that. We'd be kind of in a pinch if I had to take a bunch of time off. So I propose a slight restructure of the organization in my office, which will necessitate a little bit of a budget adjustment. I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do this to have as minimal budget impact as possible. One of the things that we actually have built into my budget right now that we employ during a busy BOE year is we have a part-time seasonal position that we can hire and bring in somebody to help out Carrie with BOE. And in busy years, we use every last minute of this person's time to do that. My proposal is this: I will be assigning Carrie as is my prerogative, the chief deputy position, but I'm gonna actually leave her in doing mostly the same daily tasks, other than she will now get supervisory stuff added to her job. And I think it's worth noting, and I hate to get into people's personal lives and pay and all that stuff in a public meeting, but Carrie will be in reality taking a little bit of a pay cut to do this position, because right now, as she does payroll, she works a lot of overtime hours. The payroll week, she puts in 55 hours on average, probably. So as she moves to chief deputy position, she'll be exempt, so she won't make any overtime. And so I'm going to be trying to work with her to make it as fair as possible for the basically giving up that overtime. She will step up in salary, but she will, in the net, probably lose a little bit. I'm hoping we can look at the pay for our chief deputies when we do have, when we're talking budgets and stuff. But so that would be her role, which means I will be needing to backfill Christine's position. Again, seeing this as an opportunity, I've wanted for some time to get some accounting backup for what I do. So my proposal is this, and I've talked with you guys offline, and I talked about this in my own departmental report the other day, so I think the concept is pretty much out there, and I won't take too much of your time, but I would like to create and update the positions. So instead of having a deputy auditor payroll, deputy auditor accounts payable, and deputy auditor whatever Christine's job will be, now that position won't be the chief deputy, I would like to just call these positions accountant 1, accountant 2, more of a hierarchical. Yeah, it's similar to the way that a lot of the departments are set up, with pay commensurate with level of difficulty and what is required to do the job, from a qualifications standpoint. I would obviously have to then open up these positions. I would like to create a deputy auditor accountant 1 position, which would handle a lot of the accounts payable function. But then also, and I'm still kind of working through the details, but the sheet that you're looking at, we have a grant specialist and project management, and then working with assets and depreciation, which are functions that I do. I'll work with that person on assets and depreciation, but really this was part of my big spiel the other day. I really want to create a single place where we can streamline our grant process and have a grant, not a grant writer, because the job is not really to write the grants, but it is to process everything from the start to the finish of grants on the receivable side, on the payable side, on the creation of general ledger accounts, and in working with the department heads. Right now, I have a role in that process, Christine has a role in that process, and August has a role in that process. I want to roll all of those functions into one person so that there isn't a lot of room for miscommunication, and also so we can speed up the process. Right now, if you want to have a check paid that's associated with grant monies, it's got to go through Christine. Christine has to get with me to make sure the general ledger accounts are created. Then she has to get it once everything is approved, and she has everything assigned over to August for August to pay the bill, and it can add time to the process. I would like to kind of collate that in one person as this accountant 1. But really, the accountant 1 would still do the majority of the accounts payable functions. I want to be able to kind of move functionality around as needed within the office. The higher level required stuff be done by an accountant 2, which is the person I propose to backfill Christine after she retires. Deputy auditor accountant 2 would need an accounting degree, would be required, and would be involved in some of the things that I do with general ledger work, creation of accounts. I really have wanted for a long time to get a little bit of an internal audit function going, where every year we pick something that we need to look at from the county's perspective, whether it be purchasing, cash, credit cards, or a specific department, where we go through that department and see if they're following the county policies and all of that stuff. We just haven't had, we've just kind of been stretched to the limit where we don't have the time to do that, and I would like to do that. Certainly the external auditors and the state auditor would love for us to be doing more active internal auditing. And of course that position also does accounts receivable, which is a lot there, tax sale and abatements, and there's a lot of back-end accounting work that happens with a lot of the processes, from the courts to building and zoning. There's just a lot of money that moves and happens that sometimes people don't see when they just look outside at our office. So anyways, and finally, I would like to get rid of that part-time seasonal position that helps out with BOE and replace that person with a part-time year-round position between 20 and 25 hours a week of just purely doing the bottom line accounts payable stuff, paying all of the recurring bills, from utilities to we have recurring bills that we pay to the defense attorneys, to rent payments and stuff like that. So somebody that can just come in, they don't have to have a lot of training or a lot of background. They can come in, they can process those. You have to go through all the invoices and screen everything, make sure everything's right, and can do some filing. That person can also help with the BOE. So anyways, that would be able to take time from the person that's currently doing accounts payable and do some of those basic functions. That person that's currently doing accounts payable can now do some of the higher level things, which saves time for the person that's, can. Anyway, so I'm shifting some duties down, and I think kind of streamlining things, enhancing the capabilities of my office with grants, with assets, with assisting me with end of year financial statement prep and general ledger stuff, and hopefully adding some internal audit stuff. So anyways, that's kind of really the structure of things. I've talked about it ad nauseum. And the total impact on salaries will be about $15,000 a year total, because I am getting rid of my overtime budget. I'm getting rid of this temporary seasonal person and shifting some things around. So anyways, that's kind of it. Kind of a big day in my office, but we've got to get started right now so that we can get listing positions, so that we can get somebody hired, so we can have some overlap between Christine and the new person, and Christine can start training August. And anyways, it's quite a process to hit by July 1st, so I need your approval on that. One final thing I was going to say that just popped into my head. Now I lost it again, so maybe it wasn't important. Do we have any questions from the commissioners for me?
Have you had COVID?
Haven't had COVID. You can't blame this stupidity on COVID, brain. I'm just stupid the old-fashioned way.
I don't have an excuse. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I just came to me.
I wish I had an excuse.
I thank Jen for letting me chat.
Okay. All right, I guess it's my turn. I will move to approve the new audit department structure presented by Dan Jessen, our county auditor, which would include about a $15,000 adjustment.
That's what it was. I was going to say. That $15,000 adjustment would be the normal year-over-year increase. I will need, when we do our budget adjustment, a temporary increase larger than that, because as we pay out Christine's, we don't have a large salary budget, so as I pay out all of her vacation and have a little bit of an overlap, then I will need a little bit extra just for this year. But that $15,000 represents
over
just
the next year.
Yeah, just the
you're gonna have a
year.
one-time more.
Yeah,
cross training and the overlap and all that.
That's right.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. In the CJC, Stephanie Rainey has been selected for a promotion from an office coordinator to a victim service coordinator, backfill from a vacant position. Effective date 4/18/2021 with corresponding pay.
I'll move for approval for a promotion for Stephanie Rainey from office coordinator to the victim service coordinator backfill position, effective April 18th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 In the Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office, corrections, for your consideration, Heidi Furlow has been selected as the full-time medical technician deputy. Backfill of a vacant position, effective date 4/18/2021. And we've kind of done a breakdown of her pay structure to go into account for all of her certifications that she will be obtaining, so we don't have to keep coming back every time she obtains that. And I do have that written down if you want to look at it, or I can verbally say too if you'd like.
You can just read it to us.
Sure. Her starting salary will be $18.63, and then once she receives her EMT certifications, which will be in the next month, it'll go to $19 per hour. And then once she receives her AEMT, it'll be $20.05, and then her post certification that will be required by the end of her annual year will be $21.05.
And that's after she has all of her certifications.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be at 2105.
Yes, and that's what the job was posted at, but we just wanted to make sure to accommodate all of the training that she already has on the horizon.
Okay. All right, I'll move to approve the new hire Heidi Furlow as a full-time medical technician / deputy. This is a backfill of a vacant position, and this is effective date April 18th, 2021. Starting wage will be $18.63, but when she finalizes all of her certifications, she'll end up at $21.05.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks.
Prairie dogs and boards. Seeing no Prairie Dogs and Board comments or questions, I'll